in Lake County. I'm here today with Kristen Taylor, and she's from Junior Achievement of Eastern Ohio. She is the Development and Special Events Manager there. So I'm so excited to talk to you because I hear there's always so much going on with JA. And actually, yesterday, I mean, we'll probably be posting this Monday. But yesterday, when I posted stuff about the 18, that event, so many people that was one of our biggest stories lately, where people are just so excited about that.
I love it. That is a wonderful event. So I'm glad that they're excited about it.
Yeah. So this is awesome. So first, can you just give us a brief overview of Junior Achievement's mission and kind of how it's implemented here in Ashtabula County?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, first of all, for having me today. I'm excited to be here. Junior Achievement globally, we are a global organization. Nationally, we have been in the United States for over 100 years. Locally, Junior Achievement of Eastern Ohio, we have been here for over 72 years.
Oh, wow.
So we are a long-standing, very reputable organization with really impressive proven track record, I would say, over those 72 years. To still be a nonprofit in that arena with that longevity is really impressive. So it's a good organization to be a part of. We focus on financial literacy, work and career readiness, which is a huge buzz topic nowadays, and entrepreneurship. So we focus on young students. Our programs are K through 12. We are also entering into the 18 to 25 market because we're finding that prior to them being 18 to 25, they did not get this type of training and education and programming. And so now they're adults and they're like, what do I do?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's we want, kids like you guys give these programs, but sometimes not everyone knows what they want to do.
Exactly.
So that can be kind of difficult to just be like, hey, this is what you should do, and not giving them any of that.
Right.
Let's slowly move towards, something maybe.
Absolutely. Yes. And so it's nice because we everything is based kind of on a pathway approach. So that means that what you learn in kindergarten will then be built upon when you're in first grade and built upon when you're in second grade. So by the time you're in 11th or 12th grade, you've had a really nice backstory and a foundation that you were able to build. So then the lessons just mature as they mature and become more relevant as they become, older and their lifestyles change and they're entering different seasons and different things are affecting them and they know how to handle that. So it's really, it's definitely a really good organization to give them really important information that they need that they don't necessarily get at home.
Yep. Yeah. That's really exciting. Like you said, it progresses with them, which I think is really important.
Yes.
So you talked a little bit about that curriculum. So what types of programs or the curriculum do JA, what do they offer? Can you give us examples of kind of maybe the direct curriculum, what it looks like?
Sure. We have it broken out between elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So we might have JA Our Region or JA Our Nation, JA Ourselves, where they're learning about themselves and literally how to count money, because they're not really learning how to do that. Then you kind of move into the upper curriculum where it's all about cars. And it's what do you need to do to get your first car? What expenses are you going to incur when you have that first car? How do you go about sustaining those payments over the course of the time that you have a car?
Everything that people need to know, and everybody's gonna have maybe a car at some point, I mean, everybody around Ohio at least, right, needs a car.
Yes.
So that's interesting. It's those everyday skills
skills that they kind of forget.
Yep.
Because to a certain point in your life, you literally think money grows on trees until you have to start paying your own car insurance or your own cell phone bill. Even if students are eased into the big kid responsibilities, it's you can pay your insurance, you can pay your cell phone bill, but you don't realize that that's $100 a month, $200 a month.
You're wait a minute.
Exactly. And so, we do that. We also have programs like Economics for Success and Be Entrepreneurial. And then you would kind of dive down into business communications and ethics and things like that. So it really runs the gamut of everything that is important to going into literally any career.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. So how do you partner with local schools, educators, and volunteers to kind of bring those lessons then into the classroom? What does that look like?
Yeah, so JA's long-standing model, I guess, would be to have community mentors, business mentors, to come into the classroom and actually teach these programs.
Yes.
So I think it gives the kids someone other than their teacher to listen to.
Yep.
So they pay attention a little bit because it's somebody new that's coming in.
Yep,
And as they teach this curriculum, they are able to kind of impart their own story and how they got where they are, maybe what roadblocks they faced, how they overcame those roadblocks, how they're successful now, what education they had, what education or experiences they found that mattered more to get them where they are. And I think it just kind of like gives students a chance to maybe explore something that they wouldn't have the opportunity to explore if it wasn't for us coming into that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that is nice. And so, you know, our lessons are very manageable. They're super tailored and structured to like 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So we can do it where it is all done in one day. We do that a lot at our schools where it's called a JA in a day.
Yeah.
And we might get, you know, a bank to come in, or we might get an insurance company to come in, or somebody like that that comes in and they bring volunteers and they take over the school for the day. And so, you know, you might have the same group that teaches the same 5 lessons, but to 5 different sets of students. And they do that through like 5 or 6 total lessons. And it just like knocks it all out. And then there are other ways that one volunteer can go into that classroom for 5 or 6 straight weeks, for that hour a day, you know, 1 hour per week, and teach the lessons. It's however the school district wants to do it. The great thing about our programs are they are free.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful too. Yeah, and then like you saying those 45 minutes, I used to teach too. So I know like we don't always have, you know, we have control of our classroom, like what we can do sometimes, but not always. It's the, you know, administrator, they know how much we have to get done in our class and all of this. So knowing it's that smaller block of time too, they still can like get something out of it. And know the J, you know, name and maybe do something more with it outside, you know? But at the same time, it's really much like, oh, we got to think about it's free. And it's also something that's pretty like can get in quick, you know, and they can learn something.
It's a very palatable, I guess, like chunk that still goes with their attention span. Once you start inundating them with a bunch of information, they tune out, the teacher tunes out, the volunteer tunes out. So those 45-minute chunks of, you know, curriculum, that just is really easy to work with, and it still engages them. That's also the great thing about our programs is they're super engaging. Like they come with like role playing, they come with games, they come with like different like presentations that they have to make and pitches that they have to do. And so it is very interactive and very engaging. So like you don't really have a chance to get bored. It's not just sitting in your desk and going through a PowerPoint presentation. It's very, very different and very hands-on.
That's wonderful. So can you share, maybe not like a direct one, but like a recent success story or an example, maybe even at an event where you've seen that success like come through for a student?
I actually
I'm sure you probably have 50 million.
I do, and it's so exciting.
But you know, you never know if someone's like, oh, are they able to share certain aspects, but you don't have to say names, obviously, or anything, or unless you want to or able to.
Well, I won't say specific names, but like a really great one that we're so excited about is out at ATEC. So every year we have our JA Titan competition, and it's held at Kent State Ashtabula.
I worked at Kent, so I knew about that one.
Yes, awesome. And so it is at Kent State Ashtabula, and it's great. Yeah, you come in and speak. You know, last year you come in and speak, and you have this group of like super engaged juniors and seniors, you know, of Ashtabula County students, and they go through a simulation, and it is like they're CEOs of a company and they're making really critical decisions. And the winner of that contest actually gets to move on to our national competition, which this year is at a college in Atlanta. Oh, wow. And so the team from ATEC, ATEC usually kind of takes the win every year. They're like the really tough competition. But like those kids like were amazing. And they had incredibly high scores and they knew what they were doing. And they are going to Atlanta. Oh, wow. And so, like, you know, they fundraise and they get their money, and JA covers the cost of the seminar and the competition. And they just have to work on travel. And they're going to Atlanta for a week with their teacher. And they're going to go through like leadership training and all this like really good, important content that like is going to make them successful in the future. And then they're going to compete again against kids that won all over the country. So it's just such a really cool opportunity that like you wouldn't have
Yes,
if it wasn't
exactly.
for us coming in and hosting this event and, making it available to them and like just buying in. And that's why we love like when the teachers like really buy into it, because it just makes it like they just come ready to play.
Yeah,
And
because
it's
I've heard of like the ice cream competition too. I almost
yes,
volunteered at that, but like being an admissions counselor and not being able to
right.
pick your time sometimes,
Yes,
I didn't get a chance. But I heard how fun that like is each year.
that's coming up. We love that.
I
We
love
love
that.
that. The innovation challenge
Yeah.
in Conneaut. So
Mhm.
that is all in Conneaut Middle
That's really
School.
cool.
We take over the middle school. The owner of the Conneaut Dairy Queen is amazing. He comes in and just they get blizzards for
I know,
breakfast.
it's
He
like
gives
that
every
sounds so
school,
fun.
every student in the school gets a blizzard for breakfast for motivation
Yeah,
and,
come on.
like
Like,
encouragement. And they make their own blizzard flavor. But
so
before they
fun.
get there, they have to go through the process and they have
Yep.
to understand the importance of like communication and teamwork,
Yep.
market research, what, profit and loss, how to do inventory, and all those things that are going to set them up when they get into the real business world. And then at the end, it's like a giant competition where, it's like fifth grade versus or sixth grade versus seventh grade versus eighth grade. And then they have their community day where they actually put their blizzards, they make their blizzards at the Dairy Queen.
Oh, that's so fun.
And it's open to the community and the proceeds go back to the school so we can continue to do this in the future. And, it's so much fun because it's hands-on and it's experiential
They
and it's
don't even
exciting.
realize it's like learning. When
It's
I did projects like that, you're like, look, you just learned something
Yes.
from this. So, and
Yes.
especially something so hands-on that they actually could really, like if someone was really interested in
Yes.
having a business like that,
Right.
it's like, hey, you already learned all of this so young.
And you have like students that are like shy
Mhm.
and then they have to go and they have to literally do their pitch in
Yep.
front of the Ashtabula County commissioners, our
and they're like,
judges,
oh.
and the owner of Dairy Queen and their superintendent and a judge. And then like before you know it, they're making weights out of blizzard cups and pretending that they're at a gym or they're doing cartwheels and splits and like it's just the
That's great.
performance and
Yep.
it just gets them out of their shell.
That's
And it's
wonderful.
so exciting to see.
Yeah, so cool. Let's see. So you already kind of mentioned the local business and community members. So like they can volunteer, right? There's a lot of that. So with
Yes.
some of those groups, but also with teaching in the classroom. So that's something, right? They can
Yes.
come in and volunteer. Can you tell them how that kind of looks like if someone was interested in doing that?
Yeah, so we try to get in. We want to be in every school
Mhm.
district in
Yep.
Ashtabula. Like at the end of the day, that is our goal. We
Yep.
want to help them. It's like I said, it's easy. The teachers don't have to like reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
We have this curriculum for them, and it
Already
is
built.
free.
Yep.
So if there is a school district that they are particularly interested in, please reach out to us. It's like we can get you connected to, we can let you know what programs we have. If you can help us get into the school,
Yeah,
that's
'cause
even
they might have a
better.
connection
You might have
already.
that
Yep,
connection
exactly.
and just kind of leverage those relationships. And so then we'll just, like I said, if it's all like just knock it all out in one
Mhm.
day, you dedicate, 5 hours, 6 hours of your time. Lunch is provided,
Yeah, that's nice.
and you get to see all these students and you just get to like see literally them learn right in front of you.
Yeah.
And it just like resonates with them and that information sinks in and then they talk about it and then you go to the next class and you start over. And or if you have 5 or 6 weeks to dedicate an hour, we can connect you with that. So it is really easy to volunteer. Banks like to do it because they have certain requirements
Mhm.
and they have certain like platforms that they want to really get out into
Yeah,
the
to reach out
community,
into the
and
community.
JA is a really great place to give them that platform.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because like you said, it can be very tailored to this, teacher,
Mhm.
because that's something that they could even bring in. It's almost like they could learn something from it as well, to
Yes.
bring into their classroom, have discussions later,
Right.
connect it, which
Yep.
is great. So what opportunities are there for people in the community? So even if they're not, so maybe they're not a teacher, maybe they're like, I don't know, like I would like to just volunteer. I did this one job for a long
Mhm.
time. Is there a way that I can fit? Is it okay to just reach out, right? Like
Yes.
they could fit somewhere no matter what.
Right.
And then also with sponsors, I know you're always looking for sponsors. So if there's maybe like a small business out there trying
Right.
to like get more into the community, how could they kind of help sponsor things?
Yeah, we obviously as a nonprofit,
Yeah.
fundraising is the name of the
Yep.
game
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, we want to continue to be able to offer these programs free to the schools and districts
Yep.
because we want them to use us.
Yep.
And there are other platforms that are out there, but they're paid platforms.
Yep.
And why pay money with the current economic climate that everyone is facing in the educational realm, why pay if you don't have to?
When you're
right.
here,
So with that being said, we do fundraise. That obviously comes with sponsorship opportunities. So, and they're, it's starting at $50, going up to $2,000. And, our big fundraisers up here are like our designer bag bingo, which is in November. And that's a big fundraiser for us. Our most recent 18 under 18, that's not anything that is, we're not counting those students. We're not providing curriculum. We're literally honoring 18 amazing students. We're eating the cost of that 100, you know what I mean? Without
it's more for this.
It's just more to honor them. It's not a moneymaker for us. We don't want it. That's not our intent. But that's also a sponsorable opportunity. So, like I said, from $50 to $2,000. We have a golf outing.
I was going to mention, I saw that.
Yes, which is an amazing, because it's at a private golf course. It's like a very exclusive area, exclusive golf course that if you aren't able to buy a whole membership for a much smaller amount of money, you can play that course. We're actually bringing in an LPGA professional that you can tee off against and try to win a trip to Maui.
Oh, wow. So you got to get on that.
Yes. So, every year we try to build on our success and do something that's different, because there's a lot of bingos. There's a lot of golf outings.
But if you do something different, like you said, and then like with you guys, you're tailored to education. So if someone's passion is, I really want to educate the youth of Ashtabula County, and you guys cover other areas, too, but it's like the youth of whatever area you're in, then this could be great opportunity for you to put your money, sponsorships towards.
Absolutely. And we also, like, at our golf outing, we do award $1,000 scholarship to a student that like went through our financial literacy program and stuff like that. So every dollar counts, like everything helps. And, that's why, like I said, there's just a ton of opportunities to help us support the community and make sure that we can get this really important curriculum into the hands of the young people of the county.
Yep, great. So yeah, we talked about that. So looking ahead, you already kind of mentioned the golf outing. Are there other initiatives coming up, like into the summer? You obviously don't do much. The classrooms aren't open in that way, but is there things that you do in the summer that people might want to know about? And then going into the fall, you mentioned you have some things coming up. You want to talk about those?
Yeah. So over the summer, it does slow down from an actual like programming standpoint because kids aren't in school. Right. But we have given curriculum to after school programs, like After School Discovery has used our programs before. Summer camps, if they're doing some sort of educational component to it, we can do that. Girl Scouts that need certain badges, we can meet that. This week, actually on Friday, we have the Scrappers, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. They do their day game where it's like the YSU baseball team, but it's a school game. So they use it as a field trip. We make every year we do a really cute book for it. And it's Step Up to the Plate. Do you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? And it's under the premise that they have a concession stand and they need to budget and they need to come up with, a menu and what does it cost? And it just goes through that. So every kid that goes will get one of these books to take home and work on. And it's just, that's what we want to do. We want to be in the community as much as possible. And I know that is Trumbull County. But there's a lot of schools from up here that go to that. So,
exactly. It's not far at all.
Right.
No.
It's like, it's a really quick trip down 11, like we just talked about. So that is, we have that. We have our golf outing in July. We have in the fall, we ramp up really, it's like 0 to 60 really quick,
I remember the education world where it's like certain times where it's like, you don't really have a law and then you jump right back in.
Exactly. So like really once August rolls around, we're like really starting to get out the programs and set the schedules with all the schools and school districts. We actually have a really, really, I can't believe that we're even able to do this. Like it's really exciting. We have like a $3 million campaign that we're working on right now
to share any the information.
And this goes to what we were talking about, like sponsorship and engagement opportunities. It's called like a BizTown Finance Park. And it basically is we're building a city inside of a space.
Oh, I
And
feel like I've heard of
so,
these before.
yes,
Like, and
it's
then you can go in and do, yeah, I've heard of these somewhere before,
yes,
some
yeah,
other town.
it's a JA thing. A
Yeah.
lot of it's in like bigger markets.
Yeah, maybe it was a bigger market that I've seen it.
I've had the pleasure of kind of touring and
Mhm.
volunteering in Charlotte, which is like a huge,
Wow,
huge
cool.
undertaking that they did. It's a
Mhm.
gorgeous facility. Pittsburgh, I
Mhm.
volunteered down there. I was in Lexington, Kentucky, and I
Mhm.
saw the way that they run theirs.
Wow.
And so we're kind of taking the best of what we've learned
Mhm.
at the different facilities that we've toured, and we're putting it into our own.
Mhm.
And so it's like it's 15 stores, I
Mhm.
guess. Like,
Yeah.
so you'll have like a bank, you'll have a city hall, you'll
Mhm.
have a healthcare
Mhm.
facility, you'll have all of that. And it gives them the opportunity to promote their businesses
Mhm.
to a whole bunch of students,
Yeah, like
in
more they can come
schools
into
and
a place
teachers.
and you're really involved in
And
it. Yeah.
yes, and they can volunteer so they can like see how their curriculum
Mhm.
is working hands on.
Yep.
And it also gives them the chance to promote in demand jobs that they
Mhm.
need to fill
Yes.
so that you're getting these kids, because it's anywhere from, fourth grade to 11th grade, 12th grade
Yep.
that those students are coming through, and those teachers are coming through, and those educators and the parents and the other volunteers that are able to go through this and run this
Mhm.
simulation.
Yep.
And so for the younger kids, they will go and they have a curriculum. And so by the time they get to the facility, they will know that they're the CEO
Mhm.
of this insurance company,
Yep.
or
Yeah.
they're the CFO of this bank or whatever. And they actually act out those jobs.
Mhm.
So they have to pay the mortgage,
Yeah, like all those
they
things
have to
together.
pay
It's
their
interesting.
employees, they have
Yeah.
to deposit their paychecks, then they have some extra spending money where
Mhm.
you can actually go and buy things at these
Yeah, like in the
stores
stores.
and
Wow.
stuff. And it's just like, it's really on like budgeting and finance
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And it gives them the opportunity to experience jobs that maybe they never
Yeah,
would
like
really
really
have.
experience
And
it though, because that's the thing.
exactly.
Like, back in my time, it's like, oh, you go to an internship, you just get a random, but that's like almost when you're done with you know what I mean? You can
Right.
get one, like when I was in school, it was all about, oh, get one close to when you're almost done with. And it's
Yes.
like, how is that as helpful? Because you don't
Exactly.
really know, and
Right.
you're like, I do just want to try it out. Or
Yes.
so I feel like that type of they get to try it out, and then
They
they
do.
might say, oh, I always wanted to be this one, and then they're like, wait a minute, no,
Right.
I don't now.
Right.
Now I really
Exactly.
see what actually
Yeah,
it
but
is,
you're not a senior in college by the
exactly.
time you
Or
realize
and
it.
already you're in college and you're like,
Yes.
I don't know how to change it
Right.
at this point. I
Right.
don't have the money to
Exactly.
change it or whatever.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's really, really
It's
cool.
so exciting. And then like once they get into like the upper middle school, high school
Mhm.
ages, then it's like, okay, you have 2 kids.
Yep.
Your
Oh gosh, yeah. It's
mortgage
like,
is
oops.
this, like your car payment is
Yep,
this.
right here.
How do you like finagle your
Yep.
lifestyle around your budget,
Yep.
and how much money you have coming in and what you have going out, and how
Yep.
do
The
you do all
reality
this?
of it all.
And it really helps them. And we saw it in the other areas where it's like, my parents live paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
We
Yep.
don't budget for this. It's we get what we can when we can, or
Yep.
whatever.
And it's not people's fault sometimes. It's like
Right.
the community you live in. Sometimes it's
Right.
growing and you're trying to build
Exactly.
from that. Like,
Yes.
all
But
those
it's
things.
showing them that they have a way to kind of change their path
Yes.
if they're smart about it.
Yes,
You
exactly.
have the power and the control to
Yep.
like really set up your financial success and own your financial freedom
Yep.
at a young age. You don't have to necessarily follow
Yep.
the same path that you think you have to follow.
Exactly. Yep.
There are ways out of that, and this is how you can do it.
And also with like the community you mentioned, it kind of shows them how they can give back to their community, what that like
Yes.
truly looks like, to help
Mhm.
rebuild like your community
Yeah.
and be a part of it
Yep.
too, which is great.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's really exciting because I do see, I've noticed things from Jay over the years, and I've seen like so much different too, growth and things that I've seen, which is fantastic to hear,
Yes,
just
we
continue
are.
to evolve and stuff.
Yes, we are a small but mighty office.
Yeah.
We do cover Ashtabula, Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana
Yep.
counties. And so it's a really good mix of like urban and rural and, city and all that kind of stuff. And it's just what we learn from the students. And I think the great thing too is that we're giving this education to the students that are in the classroom at
Yep.
that time, but then they have so many great materials to take home.
Yes, exactly.
And so they are able to share it with their brothers and sisters,
or their mom
parents,
or dad, like
grandparents,
pick
or
it up.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so like it kind of like we're becoming like multi-generational in our educational system
Mhm.
because their parents didn't have this, and so
Yep,
they don't
exactly.
know, and so now the kids are being like, well, I learned this and I learned this,
Yep.
and then the parents are like, I learned something
Yeah.
from my fourth
Yes,
grader
yep,
that
yep.
I didn't know, which is
Yep.
super exciting for us. And that's
Love
why we like to have the events that we have,
Mhm.
like in JA Inspire, which is the college career and trades fair that we do, and it gives them like that. We do like symposiums where
Mhm.
they have like speakers
Oh,
that
mhm.
are super engaging and give them a firsthand account of what they're doing, or what
Yep.
is soft skills huge,
Yes,
right? Like that's
100%.
always
Communications.
the
That's
communication
my
skills,
degree,
the
and
soft
it's like
skills,
always going to be the most important thing. I feel
right?
like in
Right.
any
Problem
place.
solving.
Yep.
So like we focus a lot on that, and then they go into like the trade show side
Yep.
where like you can actually fill out an application, and
Yep.
you can do all these things, or you can take it home to your older brother that's coming home from school and
Yep.
wants a summer job or whatever. So it's just we might hit that one student,
Mhm.
but the reach
Yeah, it's the
goes
whole
much
family
farther.
further.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. You
That's
can cast a much
fantastic.
wider net.
Yeah. So really, is there anything else that you would like to share? Like the website, like how people can reach out if they want to volunteer. Can they go through there, or social media, or
Yeah,
something?
absolutely. We're on Facebook. That's kind of like our big social
Yeah.
media channel. We do have one for Eastern Ohio, and then we have one for Eastern Ohio, Ashtabula County.
Okay, great.
So
individual ones.
yeah,
That's great.
we kind of break that out. And then easternohio.ja.gov, or oh my gosh, .gov,
It's
dot
okay.
.org
Exactly.
is, yeah, let's do easternohio.ja.org is the website, and it actually does a really great job listing all of our upcoming
Mhm.
events, all the sponsorship
Yes, I've
opportunities.
used it when I was writing an article. All the things are there too, which is
And
helpful.
it breaks down our programs.
Yes.
So like if you're an educator and you're thinking like, you know what, next fall, or next winter, next spring, especially like when testing is done,
Yes, exactly.
then
Yep.
you have that. I feel it's like a month of like the dead zone
Yes,
almost.
you have a little
because
bit of
you have a
time. You want to
little
keep them engaged.
Yes,
Yep.
like at that point, they're burned out. The teachers
You're
are
burned
burned
out a little bit.
You're just like counting down the days
Yes.
to the end of the school year, and this is such a great
Yep,
filler for that.
exactly.
And so it outlines. You can drill it down based on elementary, middle, high school.
Mhm.
You can focus on if you want entrepreneurship, if you
Mhm.
want financial literacy, if you want work and career readiness, and it will give you the programs that
Okay,
meet
great.
that criteria. And it has a nice little synopsis of each one,
Mhm.
and what the program book looks like and stuff like
Yes.
that. So you can really leaf through that.
Mhm.
And like I said, the programs are free.
Yep.
Financial literacy, it is a graduation requirement
Mhm.
now per the state of Ohio.
Yep.
And we are able to offer that to
Mhm.
the schools, and our program meets that requirement.
okay,
So
great,
it
great.
can fulfill that SB1
Yep.
requirement. And you don't have to, like I said before, reinvent the wheel.
Mhm.
You can just use our curriculum, and it gives you everything that you need to know. It's the semester long course,
Yep.
it's teacher led, it gives you all the materials that you need. And it's just like a really like one-stop shop
Mhm.
to
Yep.
do something that like you have to do,
Yeah.
but
Anyways. Yep.
it's a lot to make up your own.
Yes,
You
and
know
a
what I
curriculum.
mean?
Yeah,
So
building curriculums. Well, it's
exactly.
fun sometimes, and it's interesting, but then like
Yes.
if you can help with some of the pieces that,
Yes.
like you said, might not be your expertise
Right.
either, is
Right.
very helpful.
And that's what
sometimes.
we're finding now. It's like the
It's not
technology
everyone's.
teacher is now the financial literacy
Yes.
teacher as well. And maybe that's not their wheelhouse.
Yep.
So we can make it make it their wheelhouse.
Yes,
by
exactly. And
giving
they
them
can learn
all
so
the
much
tools
too, as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
yeah, thank you so much, Kristen.
Thank you.
Everyone, like I said, if you reach out, like she said, the website is great, but if you want to volunteer too, you can go through there as well.
Yes.
But thank you so much just for meeting with me today and
Thank
talking.
you. Thank you so much.
All right, Asheville and Lake County. I see you next time. Bye.